Let's welcome in Global Voice. Michael Every, Head of Financial Market Research, Asia Pacific, Rabobank, is now joining us on the phone line. Michael, what do you, what essentially would you make of what has come out of Italy? It's broadly in line with what markets were expecting. Michael Every is now joining us. Michael, can you hear me? What do you make out of the development of Italy? Okay, I think we have an issue with the audio over there, so we'll just fix that. Meanwhile, let's just look at some of the mid-cap names as well and really what's happening in the mid-cap market. So if I look at the top 200 gainers and try to find out some of the top names, Sun TV is among the top gainers. It's up 4.5% since morning has looked good. Volumes are close to about 1.16 million shares. PNG, volumes just about 1,000 shares, but numbers were decent, 3% higher for Procter & Gamble, but it's got no volume. So, you really have to, wait for that. JSPL is up close to 2%. It's about 68, 69 for Jindal Steel and Power. Shree Cement is up 2%, but again, volumes is a problem. So just about 200 shares in terms of volumes. Shree Cement, as I told you, is up 2%. Adani Enterprise, Adani Ports, both are among the top gainers. So both the Adani twins seem to be doing well. Adani Enterprise, very strong volumes of 1.2 million shares. Adani Ports is up around 2.5%. Cadila Healthcare, 1.8% higher. 403. It's been hovering in the range of 390 to 410. And, that's where you essentially find this name. Cipla is up close to about 1.7 and Indiabull Housing is also not looking back. Okay, Michael Every is back with us. Michael, what do you make of the global developments?
Well, I think it's very much in line with what the market had dreaded. What's interesting is that the opinion polls had said that the no vote might win by maybe 5 percentage points. Actually, it's won by around 20 percentage points, it looks. So it's a really thumping defeat for the Prime Minister or ex-Prime Minister Renzi. I have to say immediately, though, this isn't the equivalent of Brexit. It isn't the equivalent of Trump yet, because we still have a long way to go. It's much more similar to the equivalent of Trump winning the nomination for the Republican Party, and that we can see where this story ends if we're not lucky, but we haven't got there yet.
Right. In terms of market reaction, do you think Fed and ECB meet, which is coming in the next 10 days, would be the most important thing?
Well, I think we have to wait and see how the Italian banking shares react today when Europe gets in. That's really the key thing because, we could see another panic in the banking sector, which can spread like wildfire if confidence is shaken. And that can move far faster than politicians are able to catch up sometimes.
Right, but do you think that largely what was expected has come out? Still, there could be a big correction in the Italian banking names.
Well, I think a lot of it's already priced in. I'm not sure how much Italian banks have got it priced in. That's what we have to wait and see. I think the market is finally waking up to the fact that the status quo or the establishment, whatever you want to call them, whenever they tend to lose. They're finally waking up to that fact. I don't think they're fully priced in yet what the ramifications are for that globally. So that's basically the next shoe to drop.
Right. Michael, do you think the ECB will come in with some measures to help Italian bond yields at least, because that's what we are picking up? And what kind of balm is that? Because there are a lot of worries that, the referendum in Italy is going to be the start of the breakup of the EU.
Well, look, that's the longer-term risk. Near term, of course, the ECB will probably step in once again. Once again, we're back with central banks being the only ones to save us. Anything positive to say, really, if you take a step back and look at it. But it doesn't do anything to solve the problem of Italy's non-performing loans. It doesn't do anything to solve the problems of Italy's bank sector. It doesn't do anything to solve the fact that Italy has been stuck in recession, flash depression for nearly a decade, and that the people are getting more and more angry and more frustrated. So if we're relying on Mr. Draghi and the ECB to actually solve these problems, we don't really understand what the problems are. He's just papering over the cracks for the next few days.
Michael, what has been the experience like in Greece? Because Greece was a big flashpoint 3 years back, and then they have got the bailouts, 1, 2, 3, many bailouts. What is the popular sentiment there? Because what we are seeing is that there is a lot of populism happening. People want to save their interest, and the votes somewhat populist and anti-establishment.
Well, that populism is a natural reaction to the fact that our current global economic paradigm simply doesn't work for far too many millions of people. Now, you can hear people arguing the other way. You can hear lots of politicians saying that's just not true. But whenever the voters get a chance to vote on it, they say, yes, it is true, and we want change of whatever form change is coming in. Is Italy the next Greece? Not yet. Not yet. But Greece has in no way been solved. Just because we're no longer talking about Greece on shows like this, don't for 1 millisecond think that the Greek economy has actually improved. It hasn't. Greece will never pay back that debt. Greece is still limping along in virtual depression with massive, massive youth unemployment and is dying death by 1,000 cuts. We're just not talking about it. And Italy, unfortunately, is heading down the same path. Currently, we are talking about it, which at least is a positive. Because if you're talking about it, you might actually do something about it eventually.
Right. So, Michael, if the Eurozone does break up, do you think for individual countries it's going to be better, say for a Greece or an Italy?
Well, it's very hard to say what is going to happen. It's very hard to say what would be the best outcome from this. But what's the easy thing to say is the very, very simple fact that the euro, as it's structured at the moment, does not work for everybody. Full stop. So something is going to have to change there in some way, shape or form. I don't know what history will provide us with going forward, but it's certainly not going to be more of the same if the Italian voters have anything to do with it.
All right. Michael, thank you so much for speaking with us at NDTV Profit, giving us your reactions on the impact of the Italian referendum where the vote has gone for no. So the constitutional amendments will be difficult to pass through. The Prime Minister has resigned, taking moral responsibility for the no vote because he wanted to bring in those constitutional amendments, and now that will not happen. He has said the no side has to put in their set of recommendations and suggestions as well.